I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 356. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello, all my dear friends all over the world. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, and I hope it's the same for you. And I do have something very, very special for you today. I probably say that a lot, but one of the most special things that I think I've done over the past 6 years of being on every week and giving you some helpful information on how to manage your mind, how to manage your body, and how to manage your life through your own mind is to give you real people that I have coached do exactly that through my teachings. 6 years of that. And today is no exception that in my 6th year, in the year of 2023, I am honored to introduce to you again one of my most beloved clients. And I say beloved because there's just no way, after working with someone as deeply as I do, and them sharing their hearts with me, that I don't ever not fall in love with them. And Joan is no exception to that at all. And you will find out why when you listen to her. And she is just like you in the way that she has had a problem with her body, with her own self-image, and with her relationship with food. Same thing, same as you. And in our Thinner Peace process, she too has learned how to manage her mind, have a new mindset, and look at her life in a totally different way and her body. So whatever you do when you listen to my podcast, please do that. If you're walking, enjoy your walk. If you're driving, enjoy your drive. And if you're anything like me, maybe you're just taking a bath. But sit back and listen to the musings and the learnings of my client, Joan. Hi, Joan. Welcome to my podcast.
Hello, Dr. Deb. It's really nice to see you.
It's really nice to see you too. And we have lots of reasons for you to be here today. But one of the things that you just said, and that's why I want to make sure we're talking, is that you were listening to another video interview that I did with somebody else. And
Yes.
you want to be one of those people to pay it forward because you heard other people's interviews with me that encouraged you to work with me.
I did. And when I first started listening to your podcast, that was what hooked me was not just the ideas in the program that you have about Eat Between the Twos, but when I would listen to these other women and I couldn't believe that they thought like I did because I believed that it was just me, of course, and there was no solution for me. I was just going to be obsessed with food until I died and that would be it. And then I hear these other women and I heard their changes and their transformations and I had hope. And then of course I called you. So here I am.
That's a good question for me to start with because I think that first, the mini session, I think is probably one of the more difficult things to do to decide to do that. What made you decide to set that up? Because how long had you been listening before you set that up, do you think?
Maybe a month,
A
not
month.
that long. I think for me, I had been searching for so long.
What were you
because
searching for?
I was searching for something besides Weight Watchers that would help me make peace with food and be able to be relatively fit. At my age, I'm not as concerned with the number as I am with feeling really good and fit and healthy and to do what I want to do. And I was looking for something for somebody my age. I'm older. So,
How old
menopause,
are you? You keep talking about your age.
64.
What happens of people your age?
They they can't lose weight anymore. They get fat and they go through menopause and they look down at their belly and they go, "Oh my God, where did that come from?" And then
Was that you too?
it was me. I mean, I was a lifetime member of Weight Watchers, so I knew I was pretty good about maintaining my weight, even though I was over my goal weight, but not by a lot. But then I went through menopause and it was 10 pounds overnight. And then in this last year, it was five more, which really bugged me. And I did not want to go back to Weight Watchers. I had this, it was like a fear. I just couldn't make myself do it because it seemed like it would be so painful to deprive myself again.
Uh-huh. So that's kind of your thinking up until that point was you had to deprive yourself in order to lose weight. And how many times can you continue to do that?
I couldn't do it anymore. I could
Couldn't do it
not
anymore.
do it. I couldn't make myself be hungry. I couldn't restrict myself. I couldn't tell myself, oh, you can't have this, you can't have that. I didn't feel like I had it within me anymore, but I still wanted to feel better. I didn't want to keep that extra weight. And then I heard your podcast.
Yeah. What was it that did it for you?
It was eat between the twos. I thought, wow, what a concept. Eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. I mean, yeah, because my biggest fear, I think I told you in the beginning,
Tell everybody.
I was so afraid of being hungry because I had dieted so many times since I've been 17 years old. I've been on a
That's a
diet.
lot of years of dieting, darling.
It sure is. And many, many times I was hungry because I really felt like, well, you got to be hungry if you're going to lose weight. And if you're going to stick to a diet, you're going to be hungry. And that's just the way it is. And I don't know, there was something in me that crossed over that said to me, my inner self, maybe my self compassion, which I have learned so much about since I've done this with you, was starting to poke at me,
Uh-huh.
before to say, no, just a minute. You've done this to yourself enough and it's not getting you anywhere anymore. It just makes you mad. And then I'd get resentful and I don't know, then I'd eat more because I thought I had to eat to comfort myself. But you taught me, I learned the reasons why I ate. And it really was a vicious cycle. I ate because I didn't feel happy. And then I felt worse because I ate. And then it was just a cycle in my mind. And, you really
Mhm.
shone a light on that. And I see it and I don't really do it anymore. And it's been wonderful. It's been freeing to stop that cycle.
Wow. So you're saying you started the whole diet cycle at 17 years old and you're
Hmm.
64. So that makes it like 47 years.
That's a long, long, long time. And, I heard one woman say how she looked whenever it was a happy time in her life, she'd be worrying about her weight. So
Yeah.
she couldn't enjoy the wedding or the vacation or whatever because she'd be worrying about how she looked in the pictures.
Yeah.
And that was me, like my son's wedding. Oh, did I look bad in my mother of the bride dress? And on vacation looking at the pictures to see how fat I looked. And, now I look back and I really wasn't as bad as I thought. A lot of it was more in my mind. I made so much more out of it than it really was.
You see that now.
I see it now. I didn't see it before. I didn't. I believed my thoughts with all my heart.
Right.
And then, of
And
course, you taught me about
uh-huh,
my thoughts
uh-huh.
and the model, which, a thought causes a feeling, which causes an action, which causes a result, which proves your thought, which is what I did for all those years.
And you don't do that anymore. I mean, you are aware of that now. And I would say, and this is a big compliment to you, but I would say out of all my clients and all my clients who are probably listening, you probably are one of those clients that really worked through these models to understand them. And you really learned how to be intentional with your thinking, which transformed you so much. And I just give you a lot of credit for being able to do that kind of work. And you did it, I think, because you were committed to yourself no matter what. And I would love for you just to tell everybody what your compelling reason was when you started with me, because we worked on your compelling reason, but I would love for you to share that with everybody and we can talk about it a little bit because that's part of how hard you've worked.
Yeah. My compelling reason was I wanted to be free from the obsession of food because fat or thin, I was constantly thinking about food. If I wasn't eating it, I was thinking about it. And I was thinking either that I ate too much or I ate the wrong thing or this is what I should be doing or I got to do this or don't do that. It never left my mind and it drove me nuts. And I just got so tired of it. So I was really motivated. I don't know if it was finally getting older.
Well, you didn't get that much
No,
older while we were working.
no, I got older by the time I got to you. I mean, I had tried everything. I read every book, you know. And like I said, it wasn't probably the weight. It was somewhat the weight, but it was more of my thinking. I see that now.
Yeah.
And my relationship with food that was really causing me pain. And it doesn't anymore. Now that I think about food as fuel instead of reward or comfort, and you wouldn't think that'd be such a big shift in thinking,
Oh, I bet there's a lot of people listening going, they
but
understand.
I don't know. The light bulb just went on. I did do what you told me to do. And I think doing the journals made me see my thoughts about it and what I was really doing. I mean, you can hear something, you can read
Yeah.
something, you can go to Weight Watchers and sort of soak it in. But until you look at the thoughts behind it, which you don't do in normal life, and even if you go to a shrink, which I did that too, they don't get in your mind quite like you do.
Uh-huh.
You're really good at it. Like I told you, you kind of got a gift to see what maybe is behind what I'm saying. Like you call BS really, really well.
Yeah, you had a lot of it in the beginning, a
I
lot.
did. And one of the biggest things that sort of shocked me was I like to go back in the past. And
You used to.
I did. I loved it. I don't do it quite so much. And if I do, I catch myself right away. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I hear your voice saying, stop, come back. I now see that was not serving me to go back. It didn't help me at all. It only fueled my thinking.
It only
And
made you feel worse because,
it did.
I mean, you can have thinking about your past and it could help you. But for
Oh,
you were thinking things, terrible things about yourself and believing them in the present moment. And all you ever wanted to do was to take me with you back there so you
gotcha.
could prove to me how terrible you are.
I did.
And it took a while for you to actually believe there was nothing wrong with you and that you were just in an endless cycle of tearing yourself up by going backwards.
Yeah. And you were able to show me that.
And you were able to see that
Yeah, I was and am as open-minded, and
very.
that is super helpful to be willing to look at what you're doing, and I think once you get to the point where you wanna change something, you do need to be open-minded and willing to say, "Well, what I'm doing is not really working. It hasn't worked for a long time.
Yeah.
Somebody else can show me a better way," and that's what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you say your compelling reason was to stop the obsession with food to become free?
Yes.
What's it like for you now, not being obsessed and feeling free around food? What is that like for you? And how could you explain that to somebody?
Well, one of the things that has changed is I'm no longer ashamed to eat in front of other people.
Amazing.
Yeah, because I always thought I felt bad when I would eat in front of other people because I
Why?
thought they would be looking at me thinking, well, hey, girl, you shouldn't be eating that. Have you looked in the mirror? Especially if it was a
A
joy
joy
to
eat.
food.
Yeah.
I could eat a salad in front of somebody but that might be it.
Mm.
But that has left me because I didn't realize how harshly I was judging myself. And then I, in turn, assumed everybody else was judging me the same way. But I don't judge myself like that anymore. I try to take good care of myself now.
It's a difference.
It's a big difference. You got to eat, right? But I can eat healthy, like you would always say, healthy, beautiful food. And that really stuck in my mind. Yeah, I like healthy, beautiful foods. I mean, they're good and I feel good when I eat them. And I now enjoy planning those kinds of foods. I'm not obsessed, but I plan.
Uh-huh. A difference.
It's a difference. And as far as the other foods that I used to be obsessed with, like chocolate or McDonald's, oddly, that has kind of left me as well.
How did it leave, Joan?
Well,
Are these things leaving you?
you called me on a couple of them because I remember when I first started and I went to McDonald's and got
I remember.
a biscuit something bacon sandwich or whatever. I had to tell you I did that. And I'm like, why did you do that? I'm like, well, I don't know. It sounded really good. But then if you kind of break it down, what is it? It's flour and grease. And I didn't feel the greatest after I ate it. And I used to tell myself, oh, but I enjoy it so much. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But then you were like, well, really? Then I had to really think about that one too. Like, I really don't, because I'm kind of feeling bad the whole time I'm eating it because I know it's really not good for me. And as soon as I'm done with it, I'm like, well, now I got to have salad for lunch. And I don't know, kind of,
Messing around with food all the time, making switches
yeah,
and changes and
rationalizing or
uh-huh.
whatever. And so the next time I thought about having a breakfast sandwich at McDonald's, I didn't. That was the other thing I learned was an urge is a feeling. I always thought an urge was a physical thing that I had to feed. You know, I did. I thought it
I
was
know, I know.
like
It's
if
like
I
an
don't,
urgent desire that needs to
I,
be.
I have to feed this now, or I'm going to want more later, or whatever. I had all these reasons. Oh, and the idea of the toddler in my mind screaming for the Egg McMuffin or the whatever it was, if I give in to the toddler, that empowers the toddler. And that really resonated with me too. So now, if I do get an urge like that, well, it's just an urge. It doesn't mean you have to. And then I would let it pass and it's gone. And so it was fine. And then I would think when I get home, I'll make myself something, even better than this yucky
That's how
thing.
you started talking to yourself.
Yes. And then the more I did that, it worked out. I feel better. And those urges seem to have lost their strength and their hold over me. Same with chocolate. I still want chocolate from time to time
Yeah.
after lunch in particular. I seem to want that. But sometimes I'll have some, and a lot of times I won't because I'll just say, well, that's just your habit. That's just the superhighway in my mind that always said you got to have chocolate after lunch. And I'm making other pathways in my mind, like you talk about,
Yeah, you
instead of,
do.
have this piece of chocolate. It's like, well, I could have an orange. The oranges are really good right now, and then that chocolate feeling is gone till the next time. So it gets easier. It's not that it never crops up, but
Yeah. You still have urges, right?
I do.
Yes,
I
of
do.
course.
They aren't as powerful though, and they are more fleeting, I would say, unless I'm in a bad way.
Talk
Oh, this
about that.
I'm overly tired.
Yeah.
That was what I learned also. I had no idea. I didn't put it together that when I am very tired, also when I push myself too much, which I do push through, right?
When you're overtired and when you push yourself, that makes you even more overtired.
Then I get strong urges. Oh, I have to eat
Interesting.
something that I think of as a joy food, whether it's sweets or something salty and crunchy. I
Yeah.
love Chex Mix. But now that I'm aware, and I'll stop, I'll
Yeah.
pause, and I'll say, I'm really tired. And then you would say, well, your 2-year old or your beloved grandchild, what would you do? You wouldn't give them a bowl of Chex Mix. You'd say, it's time for bed, honey. Let's go read a story and go to bed. So I put myself to bed and read a story and fall asleep.
I love that. You really took me up on all my
Yeah,
suggestions. I mean, you are repeating my stuff back.
he did.
and you
I
made it yours.
It was for me, it's not for you, it's for me. I'm investing in myself, and I think for the first time in my life, I didn't resent what someone was telling me to do because I
Mm,
wanted to help myself. And I think in the past, I was always thinking I would be pleasing somebody else, like, "Oh, I'll lose 10 pounds and my husband's gonna think I'm gorgeous," or I don't
mhm.
know,
Wow.
my sisters or my mother, whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what? Now I finally decided I would like to be more comfortable with food and in my body, just only for me. I
Wow.
don't really pay that much attention anymore to the outside because I know myself better than anybody.
Wow.
So
These are
that
big
was
things.
huge.
These are
Mhm.
big things that you're saying is because people are listening to you now, and it sounds really good, but I was there at the beginning, and that was not the way you spoke. It was really much more about what other people were thinking about you and how you could please them. And I think a lot of your own discomfort about yourself was because you weren't willing to know what you wanted and to give it to you. And you were much more willing to try to figure out what other people were wanting from you and trying to give it when you couldn't possibly know really what they even want.
Yeah, the mind reading thing.
The
I,
mind
I
reading thing.
I thought I knew
You thought
what
you did
everybody wanted from me and that I had to give it.
in order for you to feel good,
Right. Yes.
but it
And
was
then
depleting.
it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And food would be my way of what I thought was giving back to myself, comforting myself, rewarding
Yeah.
myself. But it's so ironic because food, you'd think it's such a reward.
Used to.
I used to think it as such a reward, and I
Yeah.
now realize I wasn't helping myself even one little bit by doing that. I wasn't listening to what I really needed or wanted. And usually that was rest or not to have to do something for somebody that I thought I had to do. And now that I don't do that so much, don't seem to really need to eat my feelings as much anymore. Hardly. I don't think I've had the urge to do that for a really long time. And
Wow.
yeah, and I will be eternally grateful that I found you and that, you were able to help me in such a dramatic way. It's really been dramatic. Yeah.
Well, I can say from this end, it's been dramatic too. But I will also say that I've said it in the beginning, but I'll say it again. It's because of your hard work that it was so dramatic. I don't think you were going to give up on yourself no matter what. And I think that's what took you is that number one, working with me was a big decision, I think.
Mhm.
And investing in yourself was a big decision.
Mhm.
And once you said yes to that, I think the reason that you did it is because you had a feeling inside of you that it is exactly what you needed. And honoring that for yourself to this day, I think that you're going to trust yourself so much more because you get those feelings inside of you now and you listen to them because you're proving how powerful your own inspiration is to yourself.
Yes, I think that's right. And I think I've started to notice it even in other things in life besides just food.
Of course, say more about that.
When I set aside thinking about what everybody else is thinking or what they think I ought to do, I listen to my own voice and ask my own self, well, what do you really think about this? What is your real gut feeling about whatever it is, whether it's something to do with work or a family member or, all the things that happen in life? And I usually know it deep down in my gut somewhere what the right answer is. And now I listen to that voice. And as you would say, I honor that. And I never did that before. I didn't trust it, like you said. And now I do. And I think because I've seen the results of that, and it's really good. And I
Mm.
am less disturbed. I'm less resentful. I'm less exhausted. I just am a happier person, really, which is wonderful.
I would say when you first started working with me, you weren't. You
You
had a
know,
beautiful life,
I did. I tried really hard to be happy with my
You
life
did.
because
Uh-huh.
I knew objectively that I had a good life, like
Of course.
not to be happy about, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But it was all my obsession with things that had come before, things in the past that I was still hanging on to. I didn't realize to what degree and what it was doing to me, how it fueled resentment and self pity and all those things I think that I ate. That's why I ate, I think. And yeah, you helped me see that. I don't think I would have put it all together on my own. And that is why I decided to work with you because I knew I hadn't figured it out on my own. I'd come a long way, but I was lacking self compassion. I think that was really the missing piece for me. And that was the first thing you said I should do was to read the book, The Self.
Self-compassion.
I think I shared with you in the beginning, I really thought self compassion was for wimps.
Say more, Joan.
I'm trying to think of how to say this nicely.
You don't have to be nice.
When people would say, oh, self care, self love, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Suck it up, put on your big girl pants, deal with it. Come on.
That's the way you treated yourself.
It's exactly the way I always treated myself. And, there's good and bad about that. Like I accomplished a lot in my life. I was very strong and independent and able. But at some point, it doesn't work anymore. Maybe your inner person is telling you, would you just stop pushing me? Would you just be nice to me for once? And I guess you gave me permission to do that. And now I don't think it's so dumb anymore. I think it's
What do you
really
think?
helpful. I think
Yeah.
it's really helpful. Now I see it in other people too. Because, like you say, I think our culture, I mean, especially for women, we are really good at taking care of everybody but ourselves. And we sort of pride ourselves like, who can stretch themselves the thinnest? It's like you get a reward if you're overloaded and you have too much on your plate and you're too busy and you don't, I don't have time for myself. And
Yeah, and chocolate and cookies and Chex Mix starts looking a whole lot better when you're like that, doesn't it?
it's the only joy in your life, which is really sad. That's the other thing I thought about. Dang, is food the only joy I have in life? That's kind of sad.
And
Um,
now, are you
oh
enjoying your
God,
life more?
I know it may sound kind of hokey, but I'll wake up and I'll appreciate I'm awake. I feel pretty good. I look out the window. Even if it's snowing, the snow is pretty. I mean, I get to walk my dogs. I mean, I don't know, just the simplest things are no longer, I have to do this, I have to do that, because I know now I will do things in life that are chores and work and whatever. But I also know I'm not going to push myself beyond what I can do or a reasonable amount. And I'm going to allow myself good things like rest and good food. And if I don't want to do something or can't do something, I'm going to say, no, I can't do that. And
Amazing.
it's such a relief. I'm like, who knew?
Wow. Okay. So, in the few minutes that we have left, what would you say you have been transformed?
Yeah, I have. My
And
mind has been transformed for sure.
yes,
And my body. I don't have a bellyache all the time. And you know what? You didn't even tell me what to eat. We really didn't talk much about that. I guided myself. I know what's nutritious food and what's not. And
I
I
believe you do know.
and I slowly but surely have been giving myself better and better foods. And I feel pretty dang good. And it's so motivating. So
And
when
you
I
don't do it because you're fat.
no, I do it because I want to feel good and because I want to take good care of myself. And I have lost 5 pounds along the way, which I'm thrilled about. And I think if I continue on, I don't want to lose a ton more weight, but I do want to lose some more. And I can do it this way. I can live like this because I'm not hungry. I'm not feeling deprived and angry all the time because I'm on a diet.
That's
So,
right. So,
yeah,
I mean, you came not really needing to lose very much weight to begin with.
right.
And it wasn't the biggest focus for you, as
No,
everybody's hearing. It was really how you felt inside and the obsession. And by getting rid of that obsession, it's interesting how you just started losing weight.
Yeah. I didn't eat past, I would realize I was already full and like, why am I still eating? I don't know. Because it's there, because I can.
Yeah.
But then I broke that thought as well. It's like, why would I do that? I don't need it. I don't need any more. I'm fine. So that's
Nothing
been,
wrong with me. I'm just not hungry anymore.
I'm full. I have had enough. Yeah.
That's right. All right. So for those women who are out there like you were, and you were one of those women that were
Yeah.
listening to these interviews, which is why you ended up working with me, is from listening to somebody else, which is why you're here.
Yes.
What would you say to the women that are out there listening to you? What would you say to them in your encouragement about why they should work with me in your experience?
I would say if you've been through lots of things with weight loss and food and nutrition and wellness and even mental health and substance use and whatever your thing has been, Dr. Deb has the ability to take all that stuff and help you go to the next level, which is to get inside your mind at your habitual thoughts that are not serving you and help you recognize them and change them because we have the power to change our thoughts. That is her superpower. And I feel that if I had not done it, I wouldn't have the gift of that mindset change, that psychic change, whatever you want to call it, that I have. And it's worth it. It is so worth the investment in the effort, the time, the cost, all of it. I would not hesitate for sure.
Wow. Thank you, my sweet, dear Joan. It's
You're
been such a
welcome.
pleasure working with you. I've enjoyed every minute of it. And I will
It's
miss you, my darling. I will miss you. But thank you for being on
likewise.
my podcast.
Thank you for everything.
My pleasure. Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, what did I tell you? She's exceptional in terms of how she has learned the work. And I think when I say exceptional, what I mean is she's done exceptional work because she did everything that I asked her to do, which was really just homework and paying attention to herself, and especially paying attention to what happens to her when she puts food in her mouth. And like she said in the interview, it's just not about the food, even though everything and all the homework that's done is about putting food in your mouth. Her life has changed. Her relationships are changed. And it's all because she worked with me, putting food in her mouth and wondering why she was eating when she was not hungry, and willing to look at her own emotional landscape like she told you she did. And now she's got the rest of her life to live in peace with her body and food. And she's thrilled, and I'm thrilled. And I hope that maybe you related to her or she said something in a different way, because I think every single time I have another client on, it's always different. It's never the same. And that's why I love to have them on. And that's why she came on. She came on because she heard somebody else being interviewed by me. And it encouraged her to think that maybe she could change and that she could get help. And she didn't have to live her life thinking she had to go on a diet and something was wrong with her. And the scale could solve everything. Losing weight would solve everything. Really, she solved everything with managing her mind. And that's what you heard. So, if this is something that she's encouraging you to do, then maybe you would like to have a mini session with me. All you need to do is go to drdebbutler.com/work with me, and you too can set up a mini session. And if it's not something that you want to do, maybe you don't want to work with me. Maybe you just want to listen to my podcasts. Well, I have 356 podcasts of where I talk about my thinner peace process in every way, shape, and form that I can think of. And as you listen to these podcasts over the years, I change some of the ways that I look at things and I update my tools, but my basic philosophy never changes. So if this happens to be the first podcast that you've ever heard, please go back and start listening to number 1, and you will understand more about this thinner peace process. And of course, I would never end this podcast without saying to you, no matter where you go or what you do, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye. If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change, and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com/change, CHANGE.